Hey guys, it's Zypic, and welcome back to yet another Rust base build. Today we're going to be going over my Paradox V2 bunker. As so many of you like the previous version of this design, I decided it was time for an upgrade. With a refurnished layout, core, and bunkers, this base has been carefully designed to fix any flaws and weaknesses, all while keeping the best features of the original Paradox design. The base includes 2 unsplashable stability bunkers, plenty of box storage, bedrooms, lockers, full roof access, wide gap peak downs, and much more, all intended to help you defend against online and offline raids. Now to properly show you the design, let's do a full walkthrough of the base. Heading through the first 3 doors, you can see when open, they create a basic triple airlock. We'll head through the garage door on our left, but first, note that you can also open and close the garage doors to the auto turret from the inside. In our first square here, we have 3 furnaces up against the wall, and to the left, we have a dropbox loot room. If someone tries to go deep through the airlock, you can easily shut them in with this double door through the wall. Now let's continue on through the garage door path, leading us to the core of the second level. Through the right side garage door, we have our drop down bunker, and the left side holds our upstairs bags. Even though the back drop down wall has an exposed soft side, it's still impeccable due to the half wall glitch. Passing over top of the 3 sleeping bags and going through 2 more garage doors will bring us to our secondary bunker. We'll head down here in a few seconds, but for now let's continue the tour of the second floor and also head up to the roof. Against the back wall of our first drop down, we have another 4-box loot room, and to the left of that we have a repair bench, research table, 3 large boxes, and our locker and battery behind individual windows in the Honeycomb. Up on the 3rd floor, we have a few more drop boxes, as well as our bedrooms, and also some windows to see out onto our peak downs. Behind the next door, we have a ladder hatch up to the roof, and now we can go ahead and tour the peak downs and window floor. As you can see, it's very open and easy to get around, and as I finish up the tour, I want to mention if you guys like what you see and you want to watch more builds like this one, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It only takes 1 click and it really helps me out. Now in one of the 4 peak down squares, you can see I've used my roof design to create basic wide gaps in the base. And finally, using the ladder hatch we saw before, we'll head upstairs to the roof access. Upstairs, I've used 2 double doors to create a basic airlock to the roof, and there's also an auto turret covering both sides of the entrance. As you can see, there's plenty of room up here to expand as you progress throughout the wipe. Now back downstairs, let's continue on the tour from our first bunker. Spawning down below, we have 2 bags in this first room, as well as 2 boxes and our drop down chute. To break open the bunker, simply pick the twig with any tool, and once broken, the roof will also demolish due to a lack of stability. And to replace the bunker, build in a triangle floor tile, then while crouched and standing in the center of the square foundation, look slightly under the twig triangle and place in the roof. For the last step, upgrade the roof to either metal or HQM, and with that said, the bunker is finished. Passing by the next 2 garage doors, we have our 3rd bag and also a 6-box loot room. Next, we'll jump over to the other side of the base and continue on the tour from our main bunker. In this room, we have our tier 3 workbench, large box, 2 sleeping bags, and also our bunker drop down. As you would expect, this bunker works the same way as the last one. And again, through the first garage door, we have our 3rd sleeping bag, and the second one holds 4 large boxes, 4 small boxes, and our TC. The upkeep is on your screen right now. So now with the base tour finished, let's waste no time and get right into the base build. The first door frame in your airlock can be stone, however the outside one should be wood, as well as the roof on top, as we're going to pick it out in just a few steps. Make sure your TC is placed on the same side as mine against this back wall. And even though we're going to place down some metal doors, we're only going to upgrade the wall frames to wood, as it'll make placing the boxes much easier later on. Feel free to customize the starter and make it your own, or follow my design right here. Once you have all the boxes placed in, we can upgrade the frames to stone. And with that said, the starter is now finished. We can now begin working on the drop down chute. You can use any tool to demolish the wooden wall and roof, or use some more explosive measures. And if you don't have a ladder yet, you can use a furnace like this to jump out. We'll build in this twig half wall as a temporary jump up to the inside. And on the other side of the drop down, we'll build in this very important floor frame, which will give our bunker the stability we need to seal it. Before you seal in this honeycomb, place in another floor frame against this back wall, and this will end up giving us more box space later on in the core. Then jump up onto the roof and we'll continue the build from up top. The following walls have to be built in as metal before you seal them off, as you won't be able to access them later on from the inside of the base. Make sure all the hard sides are facing inward to the square. Again, we'll make a temporary jump up to the roof using this triangle foundation and also a twig half wall. Before we seal off this honeycomb, upgrade the left side wall here to metal. Now we can place in the drop down honeycomb on the other side as well. Just don't forget you also need a half wall height floor frame in this honeycomb. Again, for a temporary jump up, place in 2 triangle foundations in between the squares. Now we can place in a half wall and then a floor frame, which will end up giving us even more box space in the secondary bunker as well. At this point in the build, I'm going to expect you have garage doors, but if you don't have them quite yet, just use double doors for now. On the outside of our upstairs door, we're going to place in this extra honeycomb here. Then upgrade the inner stone wall to metal, and then finally you can fill in the rest with stone honeycomb. Don't forget the base is mirrored, so run around to the other side and do the same thing. We can then continue on by building the rest of our downstairs honeycomb. We'll start with these 2 triangle foundations on either side of the front door. And if you can, do the next part straight upgraded to metal to save you a little bit of stone. Note that if your foundations are high enough like this, you may want to upgrade them to metal so no one can break them and then crouch under. Now in the TC bunker, we're going to replace our double doors for garage doors. Then, using that floor frame we placed in earlier, we can build in a triangle against the wall like this and add in a few more boxes. Let's continue and do the second bunker as well. Make sure your single doors swing inward like this so they don't interfere with sealing the bunker later on. So this is what the deployable should look like when the bunker is finished. Now let's build the front side of the second floor. Using a double door like this will give you a basic airlock which you can use for now, as we don't have the final honeycomb layer on. And don't forget to build in your jump up to the front door as well. I highly recommend, if you haven't already, to place in some extra bags for you and your teammates on the second floor. And now let's begin building the back side of our second level. With this section of the base finished, let's begin the final layer of honeycomb on the bottom floor. It should be pretty obvious where all the squares and triangles go. You're going to place 4 squares and 2 triangles on this side, and 4 squares and 2 triangles on the other side. Let's start the honeycomb by sealing off all of our triangle foundations with walls. And then we can add the roof ramps, which should both be facing inward towards the metal wall to seal it off. Do this all the way around the base. To avoid anyone splashing into the core, we're going to isolate the bunker by adding one bit of honeycomb on this side. And don't forget the base is mirrored, so when you do it on the opposite side, you're going to have to flip that triangle. This triangle next to our front door is going to be an auto turret slot. And of course the mirrored side will have an auto turret as well, with the triangle to the right of it being honeycomb. Next, we can begin upgrading the inner oval section of the roof to metal. And we'll also do some metal upgrades downstairs. Make sure you place these bottom boxes as high up on the ramp as possible, because there's a chance they could be demolished when the bunker is broken. This wall specifically in our 6-box loot room bunker can just be upgraded to metal, as it has a bit more protection. And when you upgrade the wall next to it to armored, don't forget to flip it as well. Of course, as you progress throughout the wipe, upgrade your workbench to whatever level you need. To avoid any weaknesses from a top-down raid, I would recommend upgrading these 3 roof tiles to HQM. Even if you don't have electricity set up just yet, you can place a locker in this triangle for now and swap it out for a battery, even if it's sealed later on. And for the final step, let's begin working on the peak down floor. Remember not to add in a roof tile here, it needs to be a floor frame, just like this. We can place in this half wall and floor tile to add in a little more box storage later on, just like this. Now for all these open squares, we're going to place down a floor right above the roof, then a half wall, and finally a floor frame at half height just like this. And I would recommend upgrading these to metal as it's one of the weaker points of the base. Place these in all the way around the base until we've completed all 4 sides. Then we'll place in another square floor frame right above the other ones in stone. Carefully build along with me, placing in all the walls I do here. I don't like to add the roof peaks on all 4 of the peak downs, so instead on these other 2 we're just going to add windows and make them normal. Remember not to fill in the section with the roof peaks, as we're going to need to build these another half wall higher. And now finally we can place in our roof pieces. Don't forget you can also change the direction of them if you want it to cover a different area of the base. If you're far enough into your wipe that you have siren lights, you can place them down onto the roof in case you go down, that way your loot doesn't fall. We're going to use vertical embrasures on almost every slot except for the ones next to the roof peaks. You'll see here we're going to use a horizontal one, and also of course on the horizontal peak itself. And lastly, let's build the full roof access to the base. I won't be showing you any electricity in this video, but if you want to find some, there's plenty of Rust videos on YouTube to go look for. Now back upstairs on our 3rd floor, let's remove this double door, upgrade the blocks to metal, and then add in a ramp, and also place down some boxes for extra loot storage. If you get armor doors at any point in your wipe, you can replace them for the single doors in the bunkers. A final thing to note is if you ever break the bunker and you notice a box is missing, it's because you placed it too low, so make sure you check this when you demolish your bunker, and also place the box as high up on the ramp as possible. With that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video, have fun with the base, and I'll see you all in the next one.